On this channel, I've already done my fair share of One Piece figure reviews, mostly focusing on the main heroes. This means that I haven't really talked about any villains yet, which is kind of their fault. They haven't really released a ton of villain figures in their Variable Action Heroes line. However, that will change today. The focus of today's review is not only a villain, but he's probably my favorite villain from One Piece, Sir Crocodile, with his hooked hand reminiscent of a childhood favorite character of mine, evil crocodile-like appearance, and just general cool factor. Crocodile has remained my favorite villain in One Piece. This figure is one that I've wanted them to make since I started collecting the line, so I am very excited to finally have him in hand. No pun intended. Right out of the box, he looks pretty incredible. He's got the typical crazy proportions that you would come to expect from the series, which makes the figure look a little bit odd, but completely on model. Similar to the previously released Luffy and Shanks figures, Crocodile's design is based on the Marineford arc. The difference is the darker colors that he's wearing. I would have preferred it if they went with his original Alabasta arc color scheme for the figure, but these colors make him look more menacing, and he fits in line with the other figures. His face is pretty much perfect. It's probably the most expressive facial sculpt I've seen on one of these figures and looks completely in character. The laid-back, borderline nonchalant personality of the character shines through amazingly in this face, and the cigar really complements the look. The cigar, by the way, is not removable. In certain lighting, you can see his hair has been peppered with these really cool-looking purple highlights. The rest of his outfit looks just as nice as the face, with no visible paint mistakes or bleeding. Due to the darker colors, the outfit looks a little bit boring and doesn't really stand out a lot. On his hand, you can see he has all his rings, which looks very nice, especially for this scale. I was a bit nervous about how the hook hand would come out, mostly because I hoped it wouldn't be too heavy to allow the left arm to actually be posed properly. Thankfully, that is not the case. The hook is weighted well, while also allowing for arm posing. The hook's weight doesn't force the arm to come down at all. His crotch piece is made of very flexible rubber, which lets the legs come up as far as they need to, so nothing really gets hindered down there. The first accessory I have to show is this alternate face. This one has Crocodile looking much angrier than the default face. The expression is well done here, but it lacks the same personality the previous face had. Next up is maybe my favorite in the bunch, a slightly confused looking expression where he's looking off to the side. Normally I can't stand figures that are looking to one specific side, as it can really limit posing. But I don't know, this one just really works for some reason. The first alternate hand we're going to show off is this open palm hand, which can be used to grab his hook or any other similar poses. His second and final alternate hand is this claw hand, which should be used in action poses. It works best in tandem with his next accessory, this large crescent-shaped sand blade, to replicate his Barjan attack. You put this accessory on the figure by removing the right arm below the elbow and replacing it with this new piece. This looks fine, but certainly not as dynamic as it could have been. I really don't think I've ever seen any import figures with, amazing effect pieces. And, well, that's the only effect piece he comes with, which is a real shame because Crocodile has quite a few cool-looking moves that could show off the powers of the Sand fruit. Specifically, I would have loved for his Sable's move to have been replicated on the figure. Last but not least is his coat, which I don't know if I would even consider this an accessory or not, due to it completing the figure's look. He really looks better with the coat on, and I couldn't imagine displaying him without it. Just like most of the variable action heroes with coats, it slips right on over the figure and fits very nicely. For a size comparison, here he is next to Zoro, and as you can see, he is much taller than one of the normal-sized figures. Well, that's pretty much it for Mr. Zero here. Figure that I've wanted for a while now, based on one of my favorite One Piece characters. And let me tell you, he was well worth the wait. The figure itself looks like a perfect transition from page to figure. Absolutely nothing hinders his articulation, which allows for great posability and playability. And due to his larger size, he has a very nice presence on the shelf next to the other One Piece figures. The only downside of the figure is that he doesn't really have an amazing group of accessories to show off his cool sand powers. So overall, if you're a One Piece fan, or even just a fan of cool-looking pirates, I would absolutely recommend this figure, as he's one of the best in the Variable Action Heroes line. I just hope that we can get some more villains sometime down the line. This series just wouldn't feel complete without a Buggy the Clown figure at some point. After this figure, we only know about a Nami recolor, so I'm really hoping that this line isn't gonna just end soon, as it's absolutely one of my favorites to collect. Seriously, make a Buggy the Clown figure.